What is up, fight fans? We got episode 26, Glove Talk Podcast. I'm here with my boy Jose.
Yo, what's good?
Here to go over UFC Paris, Cyril Gane versus Sergey Spivak, and then go over UFC 293, Adesanya versus Sean Strickland. That's coming up on Saturday. So first, let's get into it. What would you rank the fight night? I think the crowd was electric, man. Super
The
electric.
crowd is probably the best since COVID.
Since like '02, since the '02.
I thought it was better than the O2. If I'm being honest, man, I feel like it was just electric every fight, and I think it made up for how bad some of the fights were. But I think I give the card a 7. Right, it definitely exceeded expectations because of the crowd. There were some really good fights on there. There's some misses, but for an international card, bro, France is growing. I think France is up there with the UK right now, right? And it's good to see the UFC expanding, to all these different spots. One of them they were talking about on the broadcast, man. Get a card in Spain. Get a card in Germany, man. Get a card in Mexico. I love seeing the UFC get out of the Apex, right? Do these fight nights internationally. It was the crowd was awesome, man. Shout out France, for real.
Oh yeah, Mexico's definitely a place you could do. I don't know if you could do Spain yet. Maybe if like Ilia Topuria became champion or something. But let's go into the first fight. We had apparently a boring fight. This is one of the first fight I missed this fight personally, but apparently Zara Farhan just stood there and she got outstruck by Jacqueline Cavalcanti. So um, I missed this fight. So how did the fight go to you, Jose?
Yeah, so Sarah Farn used to be a kickboxing champion in France. Her coaches, she's coached by Hamzat and Gustafsson coach at All Stars MMA in Sweden. And even he says she got thrown in prematurely in MMA, right? And it showed this fight. She's 6-6 now. She just stood there, right? Didn't throw anything. And the punches, usually when you throw a punch, right, you want to twist the hips with it, right? She was just doing all up her body. It was just no hips, nothing. It was brutal to watch. Cavalcanti looked really good, man. She was getting it from the outside. She was getting inside, doing whatever she wanted at will, right? And I think it was a bad fight to start the card because you want to get the French crowd in it, but they were just quiet by the end of it. I don't blame them. It was a boring fight. But yeah, Zara Farn, man, I think it's time for her maybe fight some lower competition. I don't think the UFC is it for her, man. She looked very out of place. She has in her time in the UFC, for being honest.
Yeah. In the next fight, we had Farid Basharat. He's got a brother and then another guy from his country that fight with him. They're all really good. All good prospects in the UFC. Getting the finish here over Cledson Rodriguez. He got the submission win here. He was able to weather the storm. Cledson's a guy who trains how to shoot the box. So, them guys, they come for a scrap. They come for a brawl. They come with a lot of aggression. And they're also good on the ground, too. So this is a good win. He got to show a little bit on the feet of how he could control a guy who's super aggressive, who's throwing a lot of power. And then he also got to show some of his offensive grappling skills as well, his control.
Yeah, man. I mean, Farid Basharat trains with Amir Albazi as well, and his brother. Farid's insane, man. He looks so good this fight. Not in that respect to Clayton. Clayton looked good as well. It's just Farid was making the better reads, the better transitions on the ground. Like there was a sweep where Clayton was going to get it, and Farid reversed it and got on top, and that's what led to the finish with the arm triangle. Very quick arm triangle too. Usually that's a submission I like going for personally, but it takes a minute, right, to get the arm in the gift wrap to be able to flip your hips over. He got that quick, man.
Oh yeah, he did a good job. He was on the opposite side. He did a good job switching sides and avoiding getting put back into the mount side guard. I mean, or half guard. I mean, not side guard.
And making sure he wasn't too far on the side when he like locked up and pushed down as well. No, Farid Basharat, man, he looks very good. And again, bantamweight division. We're like a broken record on this show, man. This division has some killers in it, man. I want to see Farid get a ranked fight. I think he's ready for it, and I think he has shown that he's the real deal. Him, Amir Albazi, Farid's brother, man. I mean, these guys look very, very good for what they're doing right now.
Yeah, and then so again in the next fight we had Nora Connolly versus Jocelyn Edwards. Jocelyn Edwards, decided not to go with colored hair, and she ended up getting a loss. So maybe she knew something we didn't know by doing random colors every fight, neon green, red. She just went with her regular hair, and she ended up losing this fight. So I don't know how she ends up losing these fights too, like these striking fights. Like she's got length, she's got decent striking, but it's only in spurts. I feel like she doesn't do it for the majority of the fight, and I feel like she lets. I don't know. She gets pressured too much. I feel like you got to maintain your distance control a lot better and get better when you're going backwards against the cage.
Yeah, I've realized with Jocelyn Edwards, she's big for the weight class, but brother, she has a horrible gas tank. She gets gas very easily. And I had Jocelyn at some moments. I'm like, okay, she's gonna win this fight, and then next thing you know, I think Cornoli just hit the harder shots. Right, she hit the better shots. She managed the distance better. And then when Jocelyn did take her down, Jocelyn couldn't do anything with it. Right, Cornoli was getting right back up. I don't know. Like I think the 30-27s were a bit excessive, right? But then again, there was some questionable judging on this card for the most part. Uh, but I mean, it is what it is. Jocelyn Edwards just got to be better. You got to use your size better. Got to use your striking better. And it's a good one for Cornoli, man. I love how she tried to like push off the translator, say I don't need you, when it's like, hey, it's not for you, it's for the crowd. The crowd needs a translator. But I
It's
mean,
not an American crowd.
right, right. And then she starts speaking in English to the French crowd. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. No, Jocelyn Edwards, man. I mean, listen, we've said it. She has her moments. It's just she's got to piece it together. That was not a good performance, my opinion. Especially considering the fact, like, hey, you had moments in there, right? But you can't you can't have this is the thing with MMA. You can fight a good fight. We saw it with the Usman Edwards fight. You can fight a good fight for 24 and a half minutes, right? And then it doesn't matter. 5 seconds or a split second can change a fight, right? So I think for Jocelyn Edwards, like it's not the end of the world. She just got to learn to be consistent, get her better gas tank. And a good win for Cornoli. It's a tough test in Jocelyn Edwards. She moves to 7-1 now, win in front of her home crowd, and a division of women's bantamweight that's super open, right? As you know, we've seen. So yeah, good win for her.
Yeah, I think Jocelyn Edwards has to be one of the most active girl fighters too. Um, we had the next time we had Angie Losa versus Rice McKee, and a fight where I almost witnessed one of the best comebacks I think I've ever seen. The way that Angie Losa had McGee hurt early in the fight, and the way he was winning the fight with just his power, really, just showing having more power, doing more damage. But hey, McGee almost brought it back in the third. And I would give Losa the win here. Still, I would agree with the judges with giving him the win because he only lost the third round where he almost got come back on, but came back
That
on. But
third that 30-27 is wild, by the way.
yeah, 30-27 is faded as fuck.
That's wild. No, I agree, man. And Angelosa, like he was obviously winning the fight, right? First two rounds, he was winning by power, like you were saying. And then Reese McKee just came back from the dead. I thought he was gonna win that fight at the end, bro. He was landing some shots.
He
And
was hurt
Angelosa,
too.
guy trains out of Killcliff, then compared to Kamaru by some of his teammates. I don't see it. If I'm being honest, he's just big, bro. He's just big. I think his defense is sloppy, man, and he has a horrible gas tank, as we saw. Like he just gets tired. Um, and shout out Reese McKee, man. He fought a guy who's stronger than him and weathered the storm and almost won the fight. I think Reese McKee, 6'2", right, really lengthy guy. I'd like to see him up at middleweight, if I'm being honest. I think if he can pack on some muscle, change his body a bit, I think he'd be a killer up there, right? I think he just cut too much weight. Like I think if he was able to fight more of his weight class, he probably could have won that fight. I think for him, when you're that drained, one, the shots hit harder, and two, you're just more tired. You have less strength on you because you're cutting so much weight out of your body. Whereas for a guy like Angelusa, where it's all water weight that he's cutting because he's all muscle, right? He has more power. Yes, he gets tired, but he'll have more power in the shots, right? And also that cut that Lusa had at the end of the fight on his left side, that big old bump Reese McKee left on him, it was gnarly, man. Reese McKee, I mean, Reese McKee is tough. He's fought Hamzat and now Angelusa, right? He's fought two killers in the UFC. But I wouldn't. I think his stock goes up after this fight. I think this fight was definitely up there fight of the night. For being honest, but yeah, and Angelusa, man, Listen, it is what it is. He's probably gonna end up being another like Odie Osborne, Joaquin Buckley type guy, just big, big built. Doesn't really do much with the grappling. So yeah, it's a good fight though.
Yeah, I mean, that would. I mean, he was basically out the first round. He could have stopped the fight, honestly. But it's crazy. Next fight we had Taylor Lapilus showing amazing striking, amazing counter striking against Golan Laurent, a guy who was talking shit before the fight. Talking shit and said, "What do you say? French MMA sucks and shit like that, stuff like that." So
Flipping him
Taylor
off at
Lap,
the press conference, like
yeah. So
the
good to get that
walkout.
win in front of your home crowd and to actually dominate a fight, which I mean, he wasn't. He's not ahead by that many strikes if you look at the numbers. But if you look at the fight, if you watch the fight, he was just better. He's outclassed him. And he was able to get up when he got taken down. He was able to stop a lot of takedowns. 2 for 11. So great fight out of Taylor Lapilus. I don't think. I think this is the first time I've seen him fight, and I'm a fan now. This guy's got a great counter left.
Yeah,
Great jab. So good
Taylor
fighter.
Lopez is the real deal. He just had a lot of injuries, right?
Bantamweight, another bantamweight.
Yeah. Shout out Kalen Lauren though, man. You're talking all this stuff, and then you decide to try to, cage Russell the whole time. Like you just tried to hold him up against the cage. And shout out Taylor Lopulus when he got taken down, like he kept his composure and got back up and outstruck Kalen Lauren. This is what we talked about on the show before. It's about damage, not control, right? The control set, like Kalen Lauren had 6 minutes of control time, but nobody in this world, unless they are faded or Irish, would tell you that Kalen Lauren won that fight. Like it just boggles my mind. Like, bro, you're talking all. It's a short notice fight, right? Short notice fight. You decide to take it. You're talking crap about France. You're trying to be Colby and Connor put together, right? Bro, back it up if you're gonna do that. Don't be out here trying to like hold someone against the cage or whatever, flipping off in the walkout and stuff. All right, bro, Taylor Lopula, shout out him. He kept his composure. The striking was beautiful. I love that Anderson Silva, Israel Adesanya type of striking where they fight so far with the lead leg, right? That by the time the back hand hits in, like they're so long that you don't see it coming. It's beautiful counter striking by Taylor Lopulus, man. He looked very good. The 29-28s, I think, were fair. I think this was good scoring for the fight. And he just won, bro. Like, the counters were beautiful. He was waiting for Kalen Lauren to overextend on the strikes, and he was cracking him. He was cracking him a lot. He doubled him in significant strikes, right? Which is crazy because he only threw 3 non-significant strikes. So Taylor Lopulus was throwing, right, this fight, and it was good. It was a really good win. Like you said, I'm a fan now. I hadn't really watched Taylor before this, but I knew that he had dealt with injuries and stuff like that. For Kalen Lovren, man, just fight in Vegas. Honestly, go fight the Apex, man. I don't think you deserve a crowd for a minute, because, dog, you're not Ian Gary, you're not Connor, you're not Colby, bro. Save the flipping off and stuff like that when you got a number next to your name. That's all I'm saying, bro. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, then we're moving into the main card here. We got the hometown guy, Morgan. How you say his last name? Charrier?
Charrier, yeah.
Charrier versus Manalo Shahini. He
Zucchini.
was able. He got that body kick. Then he was hurt, and then he followed up with another body kick and put him to the floor. Great finish here. Explosive guy. With the little Uzi haircut as well. So shout out to Morgan, man, with the good win here. He just destroyed the guy, man.
Yeah, I didn't
Simple.
know. I didn't know X was still alive. Just saying.
Yeah, XXX Tentacion. You got some new fans here. Glove
Well,
Talk
that's crazy
podcast.
because Morgan actually acts and raps and is like Instagram famous and stuff. So like that's probably why he does have that whole look. But I mean, bro, the body kicks, man. We've seen a uptick in those lately in the UFC, where guys are going for the liver, right? Those body kicks are nasty when they hit, right? And the thing is, if you've never been hit in the solar plexus or the liver, if you get kicked there, or punched, but especially kicked, right, when the toes dig in, it's like getting electrocuted. Like your body just, it's like it goes into shock, right? You can't move, you can't react. It's a defense mechanism. Your body does. It's horrible. for Manolo Zucchini, like he was done. There was no coming back from that body kick, right? And then to get kicked again on the way down, man. Oof, that was nice. That was a really good win for Morgan Charrier in front of his home crowd. Um, yeah, man. I mean, I don't know where to put him. I think you still got to keep him kind of on the undercard of some fight nights. Still got to prove himself a little bit. Uh, but he can string some wins here, man, and make some noise. I think he definitely showed a lot of talent in this fight. He didn't really show any holes in his defense either. And Manolo Zucchini's no joke. But he's been fighting really good, right, as well before this. But yeah, no, good win for Morgan Charrier. I'm not a fan of the haircut, but I mean, hey, whatever works, bro. You do you.
Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties. So going into the next fight, we had the controversial win gave into William Gomez versus Giannis Gimori. It was like to me, I don't know. He kicked him in the belt line, and I seen the ref tell him to continue the fight, and the other guy turned away and he walked away and he acted like he didn't want to fight. So I mean, in that situation, if that's a clean hit, he probably could have put him away there. But he lost his position. He lost a chance to do that because the guy just didn't listen to the ref and he turned away. So in my opinion, I seen the ref tell him to keep fighting twice. In my opinion, so I think I mean it's a tough situation. But I mean, in my opinion, I think you got to give the win to William Gomez because he could have been able to he could have sent another shot, or follow up the shot while the guy was bent over holding his body. So
Yeah, I don't think Gomez did anything wrong. That kick to me was clean. Uh, it was clean. And for Giannis Gamori, like I think when a shot is that close, some guys do take advantage trying to get a rest. And let's be honest, Gomez was piecing him up with the leg kicks, right? And he was like, I thought Gomez was winning that fight before that. Gomez was getting in the flow state. I think when he got hit, like the ref told him to keep fighting, right? And then I feel like the ref kind of took a peek at the replay, right? And it was just like, hey, that's clean, whatever. Like keep going and go, and like Gamori still kept trying to sell it. Like if the ref sees that it's clean, bro, then that's a TKO if you don't want to keep fighting, right? You can protest as much as you want, but that's the ref's discretion. The ref's the one that makes the call. Like, hey, was this shot clean? Was this shot not clean? No matter how much you say, hey, he hit my cup, hey, he poked my eye or whatever, that's up to the ref, right? That's what the ref's paid to do, to make that call and to be like, hey, this is clean or not. I think for Giannis Gamori, it's a bad look. I think it's a very bad look, bro. Like if it's a shot close like that, first off, if you're getting kicked full cup, I understand that. Take your time. Bro, you got kicked on the belt line and it grazed your cup. You do not need to be sitting there for a minute or two talking about like, bro, it got grazed. Stop it. Stop it. Good win for William Gomez, man. And Giannis Gamori, bro, you're a clown. I'm being honest. You're a clown, bro. That's a borderline shot, and you're trying to play it off like you're Brandon Moreno against Davison Figueiredo, who kept fighting, by the way, after getting kicked in the cup like 3 times. So yeah, clown, bro. Clown show. That is horrible. Shout out the ref though. That's a good call. I am not happy with Paul Felder and Michael Bisping for trying to say, "Oh, it was a low blow, this that whatever." Dude, listen, there's semantics to it, right? The ref is the one that makes the call, and it was grazing the cup, right? Either way, Gamori did not need to be yelling and screaming like he did, bro. That's all I'm saying. So, yeah, good one for William Gomez, man. I've liked how he's looked so far in the UFC. I like the way he's built, right? He's super long. He uses striking well. Very interesting guy to see going forward. What you can do with him at featherweight.
the next fight we had Volkan Ozdemir going against a guy that it seemed like the UFC was trying to fast track in the lightweight division. Bogdan Guskov, guy who's been known for taking people out, and a guy who came out super aggressive. And I ain't gonna lie, he came out super scary. But Volkan was able to show why he's a veteran in this division and why he's been able to stay up there in like the top 15. And he was able to hurt the guy and then submit him. So that's what happens sometimes when you just come in too aggressive. You get caught, especially at light heavyweight. These heavier weight classes, these guys, they don't have to be as technical. They all got power. So
I refuse to give credit to the Swiss Anthony Smith. I'm not doing it, bro. Bogdan Guskov, you looked good for half a second, and then you lost to the Swiss Anthony Smith, bro. You know who you are? You're the bald Ryans fan. That's who you are, bro. That's who you are. I'm sorry. I refuse to give Volkan Ozdemir credit ever. I can't do it. I mean, he won. Good for him. He won. He also like you look at the Paul Craig fight. Cool. Won that too. Like Volkan Ozdemir is just not impressive to me. And then when he does look impressive, it's against trash cans, right? So yeah, continue being the gatekeeper at light heavyweight. Do your thing, bro. I don't know. I'm not a fan of watching Volkan Ozdemir fights, but it is what it is. Good win. Good win, man. Good win.
Yeah. In the next fight, we had our guy, one of the guys
Yes.
we wanted to win the most on this card, ex Special Forces, Beno Saint Denis, put that pressure on Thiago Moises, put him into war, and was able to get him out of there. Was able to get the finish, and then the ground and pound. Was able to get in a position where he was up top, and then he was laying the ground and pound to where Thiago Moises looked like he didn't want to be there no more. And the ref had to call the fight. So, and to get a win like that over Thiago Moises is a guy who he's a tough guy. You know, fought the top guys in lightweight. So a good win there.
Benoit Saint Denis, like we sang praise about him, right? Jalen Turner, I think I found your next fight. Number
Right
12
on.
in lightweight. Big guy, right? Fighting against Benoit Saint Denis, I think I found Jalen Turner's next fight, bro.
Bro, you don't want him to fight another Gamrot. It'll be the same shit that happened when he fought Gamrot.
I just want the test for Benoit Saint Denis. I think he's ready for a ranked fight, bro.
Dan
And
Hooker, give him Dan Hooker.
Dan Hooker's a little too high now. He's a 9. And you got Grant Dawson there as well. I mean, so you look at it now, Rafael Dos Anjos, 11, Jalen Turner, Moicano, Matt Frivola, number 14 now, and Diego Ferreira. So
That Moicano fight would be banger.
that Moicano fight would be banger. I know we're doing some matchmaking for Benoit Saint Denis, but back to him in this fight. Brother, he didn't have a bad moment in this fight. He looks so good. I think the Eliseo Zaleski fight, the one that he got destroyed in, obviously it was a weight class higher. I think since going down the lightweight, he's just been so dominant. Has not put a foot wrong grappling, hasn't put a foot wrong in the striking, right? And Thiago Moises is a high level jiu-jitsu practitioner, and he looked lost on the ground against Benoit Saint Denis. Even when he tried to get the leg locks, right? Benoit Saint Denis was easily getting out of them. Dude, I'm a believer in Benoit Saint Denis. I think he has potential to be fighting for a championship 2-3 years down the line, right? I think he's so good. He's not like he's super composed. Like he's not out there. He always just stays in his zone, stays in a flow state, right? Doesn't get frustrated, doesn't get angry, doesn't get excited. Just goes out there and fights, right? Good with the striking, good with the grappling. Oh my gosh, the grappling this fight, man. He kept taking his back, kept taking him down. Um, and I think for guys that have that special forces training, it's mentally easier for them to get in that war state, that primal state you need to be in when fighting, right? And Benoit Saint Denis is a killer, bro. And he takes a punch. We saw it in the Zaleski fight, right? Where he got destroyed and the ref didn't stop it and he just kept going. I think Benoit Saint Denis has Terminator potential, bro, at lightweight. A lot of good fights you can make from him. He's not an easy matchup for anybody. And I don't think anybody's a bad matchup for him because he's so well versed, right? So, dude, let's keep seeing what the UFC is going to do with him. I think a ranked fight is definitely up next for him. I think he's shown he deserves one. And the French crowd, man, they were getting behind him. They kept yelling every time he would do a knee on the ground and stuff. Like he's a guy, man. He's the epitome of French MMA, right? I think him and Gon are the two guys that French MMA kind of looks like, okay, this is our guys. This is the guys that we want, like, repping us, right?
I don't know
So
the
good.
way they were cheering for Lapalus. It seemed like Lapalus is one of their favorites.
Lapalus too. Lapalus too, man. And you look at it, I think French MMA, and we'll see it in the next fight too we talk about. Dude, French MMA is making some noise, man. I think the UK's got a little catching up to do, bro. French MMA is making some noise, man.
Yeah. In the next fight, we had the co-main. We had Manon Farouk challenging Rose Namajunas in her comeback, moving up to women's flyweight. former champions in other weight class, in smaller weight classes. And in this fight, honestly, when I first watched it, I thought Manun won the fight 2-1. But when I rewatch it with no crowd, no commentary, because it seemed like they were sucking Manun for off, like
The
with
whole
no
fight.
commentary, I thought Rose won the fight. Actually, in my opinion, I thought Rose won 2-1. So um, for when I was on Twitter initially and I seen other people saying Rose got robbed, like Jamal Hill and stuff like that, I was like, oh, they're faded. But now that I watched the fight with no noise, and I just watched the fight for the fight, I was like, oh, Rose, I think Rose won the fight. But it was still super close to where, Manon winning the fight is not a bad thing. And I still think Rose would run into problems at this weight class anyway. This fight shows, somebody who stands there, who has presence, maybe somebody with a little bit more grappling prowess might be able to finish Rose at that weight, at that division. So,
Dude, Rose had no shot taking her down. Like,
yeah.
Ferro was so much bigger than her, she just couldn't take her down. All she could do was grab her, but she couldn't like start the process like dragging her down. Shout out to the judge that scored this 30-27, bro. This is why I hate these international cards sometimes, man. That's my only knock on it. When you got fighters from the region, they get ridiculous scorecards. Bro, nobody in their right mind that knows MMA should score that 30-27. Either way. There's just not. 29-28, either way is the right way to do it. And listen, I think Manon Firo won this fight, but it didn't impress me. Let's put it that way. It didn't impress me. I think it was so close where it shouldn't have been. Rose is fighting with a broken finger, and if you guys saw the picture afterwards, her finger was literally like bent out, and it was getting pushed in where the glove stops. So she had a bunch of skin buildup right in the knuckle, and it was just bent sideways. And shout out Pat Barry for not putting it back. He said you don't need a finger right now, right? I think as a cornerman, that's the state you got to be in. Like, hey, forget it. You still got to go out and fight. You got 3 other limbs to work with, right? Um, I think Rose, man, and like you said, I think she's better at the lower weight classes. But I think kind of Rose proved the point in a sense of I don't think Manon Firo is ready for a title shot. I don't. I think that fight she should have won it a lot easier than she did. I think she let that be way too close. You're fighting a smaller girl. You're fighting one with a broken finger. You're fighting one that can't take you down. And there was still moments where Manon Firo was just swinging at air, right? She still doesn't look tested on the ground, in my opinion. Um, I don't know, bro. I think if we're looking into the future, let's say Shevchenko beats Grasso, right? You book a trilogy. Manon Firo versus Aaron Blanchfield. And I think Aaron Blanchfield gives her problems, especially on the ground, right? Because she's a bigger girl who can take her down, right? Um, I don't know. Manon Firo, man, listen, she's fighting in front of the home crowd. I think the crowd played a big part. The commentary as well. Oh my gosh, the commentary, dude. Every 5 seconds, Manon's working on this. She's looking good in this. She's good in the stand up. Bro, that's my issue having Michael Bisping on cards sometimes, right? Where
Biased.
it's very biased,
He's the only person that
extremely
gets
biased.
away with being biased. Like if DC said anything biased, like they're on his ass.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. Or the same time, the same way people will be like, "Oh, Joe Rogan's talking about this," but like he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's like, dude, guess what? Same thing with sometimes with Bisping and Felder. It's just and the crazy thing with these guys is they get paid to watch all these fighters fight before the fight. Joe just gets paid to show up, and we love it because Joe Rogan's Joe Rogan. He's a pioneer of the sport, right? Whereas like these guys, like, okay, you're analysts now. We respect what you did in the cage, but bro, the only thing they said about Rose is like Rose is a warrior. She's been in war. She's fought. Like, all right, cool, but let's talk about how great she is right now as a fighter. She's fighting with one hand and still landing shots, right? And still getting Firo in bad positions on the feet. Um, like I said, you look at the numbers, right? The striking numbers were almost dead even, and it should not have been that way if you're fighting someone with only one hand. So Manon Firo, a win's a win. The judging's a little wanky in this fight. I don't know, man. I don't think she's ready for a title shot. I think you give it to Aaron Blanchfield first if Grasso wins, or you book Blanchfield and Firo if there's a trilogy. I just don't think Manon Firo doesn't get anything out of this beating Rose Namajunas. She's a legend, but it's not her weight class. You did not beat a flyweight. I mean, You didn't beat a top contender of flyweight. You beat Rose Namajunas moving up in weight class. Congrats.
And then we moved to the main event. We had Cyril Gahn destroying Sergey Spivak, and able to get the TKO win over here, which makes him like 2-0 in Paris. I think he's got the win over Ty in Paris,
Yep.
and he's got the win over Sergey. And I knew Sergey was gonna lose this fight off rip because I don't know. It just seemed like he was shelling up too much. Like he was allowing Gahn to control too much. Which I feel like Gahn, you got to have him going backwards, or you got to have him on the ground, or you're gonna
Right.
be losing the fight most of the fight. So, and even backwards, you still might be losing the fight. So, um, I don't know. Sergey just didn't come out like how he came against Derek Lewis, where he was try to get him straight to the ground.
Dude, this wasn't a fight. This is sparring. This is sparring. It was sparring. It looked like sparring. Like Cyril Gahn did not look in danger at all at any point in this fight. And like you can tell like some of the shots he was throwing, he was just doing pads, bro. He was chilling. Like
You don't
Sergey's
realize how
just
big he
chilling.
is until you see him against another heavyweight, besides like Francis.
Yeah, like and you see Spivak just shelling up. He broke Spivak's rib. And it wasn't like Gahn was even like trying. Gahn was just sitting there just throwing strikes, having a good old time, bro, in the
Nah,
floor state.
somebody said the truest shit on Twitter. Somebody was like, Gon has the best technique until he has someone hurt, and then he starts throwing like falcon punches, bro.
And he did the same thing he did in the Thai fight where he starts throwing like kind of like
Crazy.
Trevor Peak. Reminds me of Trevor Peak, bro, just throwing that stuff, man. I mean it's a win for Cyril Gahn. Um I think you got to book him in Aspinall
Yeah.
because I think you got to book him in Aspinall. I
And the
think
winner versus
Pavlovich
Spivak.
Pavlovich has already earned his title shot, right? So Pavlovich has to wait to see what happens with John Jones Stipe. Does John retire after the fight? Does Stipe retire? Whatever. Spivak, again, I thought booking this fight was weird. I think they should have booked Aspinall Gahn in the first place. Spivak has a loss to Aspinall already. Like, there's just a lot of factors here where I think Tom Aspinall has more of a case, right, to be ahead of Gahn in terms of who's next, right?
Yeah,
But I
because
think
he's
in
had
that
two
case,
tries already.
huh? Yeah,
Because
exactly.
Gon's had two tries.
He's had two tries, and he beat Tai Tuivasa, which I'm not saying Tai's an easy fight, but Tai's a little lower in the rankings, right? He beat Sergey Spivak, another guy a little bit lower in the rankings, right? Hasn't fought Pavlovich, hasn't fought Aspinall, right? I don't know, bro. I think Aspinall is a better case. I think you book Pavlovich and Aspinall now. I think you book it now. Book it for around the same time of John Jones and Stipe. So that way, whatever happens with all that, boom, you got one guy there. They can fight Gahn if John Jones Stipe retire. If they don't retire, the winner fights the winner of John Jones Stipe. So it just works out for everyone. I just don't think. I think it's a good one for Cyril Gahn being in front of his home crowd. You know, his house got robbed though after the fight. I don't know if you saw. Like during the fight, they stole $160,000 worth of stuff during the fight out of his house. So yeah, so he probably ended up losing money actually taking this fight, considering his house got robbed. So, but yeah, no, I don't think this fight did much for heavyweight. I don't think it changed many opinions. I don't think it did much in terms of who's next. But I love the commentary because every time somebody wins, they're like, "This guy's next. He's next up." We can't have recency bias, dude. Tom Aspinall and Pavlovich have done more to earn their spots than Cyril Gahn has, right? He beat Ty. He beat Spivak. Cool, bro. You dug Pavlovich. I think he dug Pavlovich, right? Especially by taking the Ty fight. And then he dug Aspinall by taking this fight. So, it's my opinion on it. But all in all, man, like I said, 7 out of 10 card. Shout out the crowd. The French crowd was sick, man. And shout out Gon's tattoo artist because you cannot pay me to put a sun or whatever it is like in the middle of your chest. That's so weird, bro. Also, get veneers, dog. You were getting paid $100,000. Get some veneers, bro. That gap is not it. That gap is not it, bro.
Going to Saturday's card. Finally, this card seemed like it came by so fast. We got the Adesanya versus Sean Strickland card. And I think they booked this card. I mean, it's not booked the heaviest, like the most banging card. I think they want to see how much pull Adesanya gets. I think they want to see how much Adesanya can sell. Because I mean, you got Adesanya versus Strickland, and the co-main is not even a title fight. It's tied to Ivasa versus Volkov, and you still got the Colby Covington versus Leon Edwards fight to make. You got a lot of championship fights that could have been on this card. So I don't know.
Yeah, the best. You know who the best fighter on the card is though?
Well,
Blood Diamond.
he's been selling, bro.
Blood Diamond's fighting, bro.
He's been
Oh
he be
my
selling
god.
though.
I know he is. I know he is. He is not that good, bro. Jack Jenkins is on the card. Ooh. Versus Chepe Mariscal. Okay, when did this fight get added?
Shane Young.
Bro, yeah, Shane Young, I saw that. Dude, this Jack Jenkins Chepe Mariscal card, that's my sleeper pick for fight tonight. Those two guys are so good, man. So good.
Nazarot Haparas. How you say this guy's name?
Nazar Haparast.
He's straight, right? He's code.
Yeah, versus Landon Quinones. Malarkey versus John McDessie. Carlos Oberg versus Damwon Young. Tyson Pedro versus Antok Turkali. I feel bad for Turkali, man. He got thrown in against Jalton Almeida and Victor Petrino, right? His first two fights in the UFC. And now he gets thrown in against Tyson Pedro.
It's a fight you can win though.
This is a
Tyson
fight you
Pedro.
can win. I think this
Pedro
is
be
where
selling.
Tyson Pedro kind of has to prove it, right? Kind of has to
Yeah.
show it to us. Justin Taffa against Austin Lane. I think that's going to be a really good fight.
Didn't Taffa just fight?
No, his brother did.
Oh yeah.
Brother did. No, Justin did just fight as well a few months ago, but he got a walk-off knockout, so it wasn't.
Manel Cape, he was supposed to fight. He was supposed to get torched by Kai Kara France, but now he's gonna fight Felipe Dos Anjos. I don't even know who this guy
Dos
is.
Santos out of Shooter Box. He's Oliveira's teammate, Felipe Dos Santos.
Oh,
Yeah, 7-0. The guy, I'm looking at his record. He looks good, man. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big Manel Cop believer. I think he's extremely overrated.
he's just technical. That's it.
I think he's technical, but he's a point fighter, in my
Yeah.
opinion. He's not a finisher. I think Felipe Dos Santos, 310 underdog in this fight. Bro, I might throw some money at Felipe Dos Santos, if I'm being honest. Right? 22 years old, I shoot the box. Definitely a lot more technical on the ground than Manel Cop. Haven't seen his stand up. Dude, who knows? Tai Tuivasa of Alexander Volkov. Tuivasa, a plus 200 underdog. Is that something you would throw money at?
Yes, but I do think Volkov could win this fight using his grappling. Um, if he fights how he fought Derek Lewis. But I don't know. This fight is a 50-50 to me.
Yeah.
But I love Ty, so I'm rooting for Ty here.
So yeah, some underdog picks on the card. Obviously Sean Strickland, a 460 underdog.
Hell no. Definitely stay away from that shit.
I don't know, man.
I don't know,
I think
bro.
it.
I don't know. He might. Hell no. He's
No,
better
no,
at
no. Hear me
grappling than
out.
Marvin
Hear me
Vettori.
out.
He's a
Hear me
better
out.
grappler than Marvin Vettori and Whitaker. No.
Hear me out. Hear me out. I think Israel's gonna win this fight, but I think if there's one person that you would pick to somehow, some way pull off an upset, it's Sean Strickland
No, it's not.
because he's so unorthodox.
No, it's not.
He's so unorthodox, bro, and he's tough as nails. Like
Yeah, tough. He got
the
knocked out by Alex Pereira.
it's Alex Pereira, bro. What?
I'm just saying, like, Izzy has better striking than Alex Pereira.
He does. He's not as powerful as Alex Pereira, though.
Yeah, it's powerful, but I mean, he's gonna. You don't have
Like
to be as
Sean, I think
powerful
Sean.
if you're
Like
precise.
I know, no offense to Israel's power. Israel, like he can knock people out. But we're talking about Alex Pereira, and he also ate Alex Pereira's best shot. Like he took a left hook from Alex Pereira. So
Yeah, he's gonna
I
take a
don't know.
head kick from Adesanya.
Listen, the way Sean fights. Here's the thing with Sean. People don't realize. So Sean has the best striking defense in middleweight by the numbers. He does not get hit at all, right? And when he does get hit, he's very good at parrying and blocking shots because he fights with that Philly shell. I think the only thing that's gonna kill Sean is he doesn't check leg kicks ever at all. So Izzy's just gonna be feasting on that calf, right? But I don't know. This has potential for either a really good fight or Yoel Romero versus Israel Adesanya? Or you
No,
just
it's gonna end in a knockout. It's gonna be a good fight. That's gonna be a knockout. Quick round 2 knockout. It's gonna be Paulo Costa.
yeah, except Israel's gonna end up being Paulo Costa. So anyway,
Oh, you are so faded, bro. You are so faded.
I listen. I love upsets, bro. I think this could be the one that does it.
I mean, I
But
like
again,
Sean Strickland. He be speaking facts, but it's just not gonna happen. I'm sorry. Honestly, I think Sean Strickland would do more damage if he went back to welterweight, but that's just me.
yeah, but it's a tough cut. Those 15 pounds, man. I don't know. I think he's at an age where 185 is a good weight class for him. He's gonna get bonuses. He's gonna get fights. And either way, I think the winner of this fight is already Dricus Du Plessis because he's next in line unless Sean Strickland wins. So I don't know.
Yeah, if Sean Strickland wins, it could be a rematch.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, no,
That's
it's
what I
not.
was
Actually, I
saying.
don't know why would it be a rematch. He just won his belt back. Restart the title reign. No rematch. I'm tired of rematches. No more rematches. UFC. I'm tired of them.
So some other news: Tom Aspinall says that he is more than willing and happy to face Sergey Pavlovich if Cyril Gane doesn't want to fight. Shout out Tom Aspinall for always being game to fight. I think that's the right move for him. Uh, yeah, Gane's house got robbed. I'm not gonna laugh at that, but that's crazy. That's crazy. Let's see. Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford has been the rematch clause has been invoked officially, and now Canelo is starting to trash talk Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford talking about moving up 3 weight classes to face Canelo Alvarez. Canelo is talking about, Terrence Crawford hasn't really fought anyone. If the numbers make sense, we'll do the fight. Obviously, Canelo has to fight Charlo first, right? The titles are going to be unified at that weight class. Uh, whoa, whoa, whoa! Sorry, my phone almost fell there. Uh, I don't know. How do you feel about that potential Terrence Crawford Canelo fight? Because I don't think Errol Spence has a shot in hell to win against Terrence Crawford. So we're going to assume Terrence Crawford wins the rematch. How do you feel about a Canelo Alvarez, Terrence Crawford, or a
I mean,
Charlo Terrence Crawford super
it's
fight?
Canelo taking a page out of Floyd's book. Fighting a guy on near terms because he's gonna go up the weight class. He might be fighting him a little. I don't know. He might have some. I don't know though. He might be. He might win that fight because Terrence Crawford's switch hitting is godlike. His defense is godlike too.
Yeah.
And
And for
all the
Terrence
same.
Crawford, he's a undisputed champion in 2 divisions now. So he wants to be one in a 3rd division, right? Um, we've only seen 2 divisions before, right? We saw Roy Jones go up to heavyweight and beat Andy Ruiz, not Andy Ruiz, John Ruiz. We saw Canelo be undisputed in 1 weight class, right? But Terrence Crawford's done in 2 weight classes and wants to go up to 3. Terrence Crawford's the only guy that's ever been undisputed in 2 weight classes. Obviously, if he fights Canelo or Charlo, who have all 4 of the belts in their weight class, boom, 3rd undisputed division.
If Charlo wins, they definitely could do the Charlo fight because he can fight Charlo. I just think Canelo's a little tougher because he's got more experience even at higher weight classes too. So I mean,
Yeah, I agree. But I think if there's one guy I would pick to beat Canelo, it would be Terrence Crawford because I think, technically speaking, I think Terrence Crawford, a lot of his career got overshadowed because Bob Arum and Top Rank are terrible at promoting fighters, right? We saw it with Manny Pacquiao, right? Uh, I think Terrence Crawford is the best boxer in the world, right? I think his record speaks for it. His amateur record, the names he's beaten. I just think people are just now realizing after being Errol Spence, like, yo, this guy has no holes in his game. Not disrespect to Tyson Fury, not disrespect to any other guy. It's just Terrence Crawford is that good where if he goes up to fight Canelo at 154 or 168, whatever, bro, Terrence Crawford, his switch hitting, his counter striking, his defense, right? He's the type of guy that gives Canelo problems, right? With the way Canelo fights. So I
I
don't
mean, I
know.
think the
It'd be a
guys
great
who could beat Canelo already did. Floyd and Triple G
Bivol and
and
Bivol too.
Bivol.
Yeah.
Which, if anybody's like, "What? Triple G didn't beat him?" Yes, he did. The first
He
fight he
won the
beat
first fight.
Canelo.
Triple G won the first fight.
No, hands down. It's not.
Shout out Oscar De La Hoya for being a scumbag, right? We're gonna have to do some videos on that talking about that side of boxing. Like Oscar De La Hoya If y'all don't know, great boxer, horrible promoter. The guy's a scumbag, bro. He has ruined a lot of careers. But yeah, obviously Canelo Charlo will be coming up soon. I think that's all we got for today, Devon. What do you think?
Yeah, that's all we got. Next week we'll be here to talk about the Adesanya Strickland aftermath, and then we'll talk about the Alex Grasso versus Shevchenko fight night, which I don't know why the fuck it's a fight night, but fight night
It's the
rematch.
UFC Noche. They're doing it the week Mexican Independence Week to compete with boxing. They're competing with Canelo and
Charlo.
yeah, yeah.
Which I mean, they got Kevin Holland versus Jack Maddalena co-main, which I think for any co-main that's not a banger, this is a banger. So
Bro, Raul Rosas Jr. versus Terrence Mitchell. That's interesting.
yeah, can he bounce back from his first loss? Daniel Zilhuber, but we got to talk about this next week. We're getting into some shit. We got to talk about.
Ooh, Yasmin Lucindo is on the card. Natan Levy's on the card.
We got to talk about this next week.
Bro, Tracy Cortez. She's fighting Jasmine Justavicius. Hey, yo, I need to see Brian Ortega and Jasmine Justavicius' corner, bro. I need to see that. I need to see Paulo Costa and Tracy Cortez's corner. I need this,
Well,
bro.
well, that's gonna do it for the episode 26 of Glove Talk. Follow us on IG at the Glove Talk Podcast. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
I ain't got much to say. Just, hey, Paul Felder's back in the USADA testing pool. Please come back. I need you.